Hello guys, so today in this video we gonna learn how to add a DMP and to replace the sky and have a DMP over here, and we're gonna track this footage which is quite shaky as you can see. Then we're gonna just the most important thing would be to get this finer details in a DMP. And most probably we gonna have it's been shot in Rajasthan, which is my hometown. This is my home in Rajasthan, and yeah, as you can see, uh, this would be quite tricky for us to like integrate as well as key this stuff. And I'm just gonna share to you my idea that how I do it, that it's quite effective and it's quite easy. I'm not gonna use any the industrial tool or something, just a basic nukes tools and everything, so that you might that you understand it much better. Because it's really easy that if I use some tools from the industries which are used in productions. But for the basic stage, when we are the beginners, we must be very clear with our basics, that what are the tools we need, and that how to do it properly at the initial stage, so that later further on we can go for like gizmos and everything, which we can which gonna reduce the work time and everything. It would be a really quick thing later on, but at the initial stage we need to learn how to do it without any tools and everything. So as you can see, we have our scan, which is quite shaky. I'm just gonna choose a frame which doesn't have so much of motion blur. I don't think so. It has motion blur everywhere, and you can see that a camera wasn't so good that it captured it doesn't have a proper details and everything. It's kind of okay for us. As well as I just went on Google to download some of the mountain images, so uh, it was really time consuming to find a better images, so I just picked up these two as per my idea. So it would be like basic ideas, and we're just gonna do a basic thing right now, not a big advanced level digital matte paint work, because then we have to switch on to Photoshop. I'm just trying to be like work everything on Nuke, so that you have a better knowledge of Nuke, that how to do it in Nuke. Because in production, that usually we just get a DMP from the digital matte paint department. The artists over there, they give us 4K or more than 3K images over here, so that we have a lot of details of the mountain. And but unfortunately we don't have too much of detail. It's kind of HD, not even full HD. It's a half HD footage, sorry, image. As well as this, you can see we don't have then a bigger detailed footages. So as we zoom in, we don't see like much of the details, so that would be a problem later on. That we can just do like a match grade, focus on key points, focus on certain things which helps in compositing. We can do that, but as per detail wise, might be less. But still we're gonna cheat on our way to make it like more realistic within a short period of time. um, Usually what happens when we do a DMP shots, which is like a sequence, a kind of full sequence, so we get a lot of reference for that, the on shoot reference, where we have mountains from somewhere or somewhere, so that we have a better exposure to that, what need to be matched and what would be the color of the mountain, or what would be the behind the house or anywhere. So it's much better thing over there. So let's get started. So first thing, I'm just gonna take this mountain, and we're gonna key first thing, and we're gonna keep this as a BG king stuff on the left and this on the right. We're just gonna do a single frame key, not much more than we will we just need to set a first frame as a static frame for DMP. Then we can do a track, and we can cheat on certain things. As you can see, this is a sky, and the only thing which we can do, we can take a keyer. Nothing would work much better than keyer in this case when we have sky. Not a primate, not IBK, they don't work. They are like color based here, and here is like luminance based everything. So we can take this. As you can see that Y for luminance, if you need to choose switch into luminance, and RGB, I'm just trying to find the contrast where it is much better. It's much better in blue channel. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna change it to blue, and then I'm sorry, because of this RGB, yeah, and we're gonna change it to inverted, and then we're gonna lose the details to a quite certain extent, and we're gonna increase slightly, yeah, much better. I won't care about this detail, minor details. I can like bring it back in later in the further in the stage, and I just need to focus on this. I'll just keep this thing separately later on, so that I have the this pixels details opaque and everything properly, so that it's better for me to blend it. But for now, I'll just keep it. That things aside. We'll take a key, copy, pre-mold. As you can see, now we have a rough key. I'm just gonna like do a rough photo for our house. Now what I'm gonna do is BG foreground. Oof. This is what we got right now, but we need to retain our original sky, so we have to do the same stuff over here. There are two things that we can do, is like we can do a precise roto, or we can key. I'll prefer keying. This is a single frame, so nothing to worry about. You can do I need to check the luminance, which is quite good in red, so I'm just gonna switch it to red, then invert, lose the sky as much as possible, yeah, retain the detail as much as I can, perfect. Now pre-mold. Now you can see we have just let me stencil this out. Perfect, yeah. So as you can see, we have added mountain, but we have not retained a sky. So in order to do that, what we're gonna do is just a little arrangement, neat and clean script. I'm gonna take a key mix, not key light, key mix, yeah. order to connect this dot to this dot, you can press you can select this one first and then this one, and then you can hit Y, so it will just automatically connect. Now you can see that we have a key mix over here. I'm just gonna toggle this AB so that this is sky would be a BG, and this whole comp would be a foreground. Now what we need to do is that we need to give this thing a mask, that I just need to replace this stuff only in my BG. So this is the only alpha that would be it would be using, and it would be key mixing it. So now as you can see, there is no addition, just a replacement of our mountain. Perfect. So now the important thing that you need to keep in mind while doing DMP, that we need to have remove the color. First thing we will do is to match the position, then we just gonna do our grade before our transform, so that in case if we make further changes in placement of the DMP somewhere here or somewhere here, so that it doesn't affect our grade stuff which we are doing by rotoing or something in the later on. So that will, you should keep it that thing in your mind, that first grade then transform. So now I'm just gonna place it somewhere I need to increase the size because it's kind of this much would be better for me, having this much. This frame looks pretty much better, I think so. And if I go furthermore, the thing which is distracting us is because there lack of detail over here, so I'll try to keep it down as much as I can to make it look much more real. Yeah, this frame is okay. Now as you can see, there is no color tone match right now. We have this is, the shadow is too big, I think so. So this would be around 3 or 5, because if the shadow is too big, then the sun would be over here, so definitely casting more shadow. The bigger the shadow is, the time would be around 5 6 4 5 6 PM. And if the shadow is quite hard and it's very small, so you just understand it, the shadow, the time would be around 1 2 or something. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna suppress the blue first. So I'm just gonna delete this color node, take a U correct. The first thing we need to do is suppress the blue as much as you can. Yeah, so as you can see right now, we have suppressed the blue over there, but still we have a certain thing, this is quite exposed image right now compared to this is contrasty, and this is overexposed, because actually this thing is exposed because of the sun being somewhere over here. So what are you gonna do? Take exposure, or you can take grade as well. I prefer exposure to a certain level, so that, yeah, right now you can see there is something which we have retained. So I'm just gonna have it around something good. Yeah, this would be much better for me, and we're gonna do something just let me check. I think so we have lost most of the saturation from our image. I'm just gonna add some back. Yeah, so right now you can see we have managed to get everything exposed it down, and Now we need to match the grade according to the tree over here, and then we're gonna just have a mask certain areas so that we have proper details. Let me go and give it some green stuff like this. And we're gonna do one more thing before that is to need to add a contrast, I think so, in this area, so that this both thing balances out perfectly. I'm gonna take a roto. We need to remove actually the blue. This is quite too much. Yeah, this helps a lot. This contrast is better, and we can work on grid now. Like first thing that we need to remember that while doing a comp of mountain comp, that the far the object, the more haze it would have. So right now it's like this is in front, this mountain is in front. As you can see, this mountain is in front, so this would be more hazy, and this would be slightly contrasty, and this would be slightly more contrasty. As you can see itself in the real image, you can see that this is slightly contrasty and this is quite hazy. It's because the far further the image, the more the haze level gets increased. So let's do, we have exposed on the image. Let me retain this alpha, which is like single frame, so it would be really quick for me. These are the smaller details which would matter, because those are the highlights of the tree or the mountain tree. My god, yeah. This idiot needs to be perfect. Yeah, so there are two different colors right now, we can see green and slightly more blue. Let's balance those things first. We have this contrast image, we're just gonna reduce saturation, and we're gonna add slightly green over here, yeah, to balance those things out. Perfect. The mountain is got quite too green, so we have like too much of reference for color to match of the mountain. Like this green is there, as well as this green is there, and the dry grass which is the almost red and everything. Let's erode this area for small time so that we can match the color. Come on, bye. Erode filter. I'm just doing it for now. Later on I'm just gonna retain everything. As you can see, the key area that roto is just affecting the area which is under the mountain. It's because of this key mix, or else I would have affected everywhere. So that's the better thing that you can do while doing a mountain shot. So keep in mind that we can k-mix at the later on the stage, so it would the entire comp would be on the area which is of the DMP. We have added green from here. Let's do a slightly, let's make it slightly contrast, add a slight contrast, and then as you can see the blue value is too much, as green is okay, red is okay. So let's remove certain blue from the image, the intensity of the blue, and then we can just darken the blue area to a quite level, and red is okay, and as you can see it's quite green right now. We can suppress the green as well later on. Reduce the red slightly, and then we're gonna go for green. So now you can see we have a good level of mountain right now for us, for image, and which is almost in a good stage, though these things are like almost close, but there are stuff like this which has which is of the itself the tree, so it would be different, I think so, over here. But we're gonna do like take a key, I prefer this over here, excuse. Increasing this slightly, the highlights of our image, and then we're gonna have one more node over here, grade node, to have certain yellow or slightly reddish tone in them. So now you can see which is this is working quite well. These are almost close match, and we need to have more contrast. And you can see that I told you at the beginning of this tutorial that we need to have detail. You can see this is quite pixelated. It would have been much better if we would have added some details and everything, but okay, we can cheat later on certain way. Yeah, so now you can see we have certain thing, but the most important thing, we have matched the color and everything, but for the most important thing, it's not blending in a scene. Why? It's because as you can see, we if we lower down over here, no matter what what's the date, what's time it is over, like we would have a suppression in a sky from like over here it's slightly red, and then it goes slightly blue. So this needs to be in our image to make it real, so that it would be like our image would be slightly reddish over here, because it's a bounce light from the ground or something which is casting, and furthermore over here it would be slightly blue. So in order to do that, we can do two stuff, like the most and the best way is constant. Take a constant, take your color, pick your color. This is blue, the sky. We'll take it, we're just gonna screen this thing over here, and we're gonna decrease the intensity. Now this is what I was talking about, adding depth. It's a kind of depth. So take something like this, roto. We're gonna do, instead of roto we can cheat as well. We can take this image, alpha, invert, yeah, and we can put it in mask and erode. So you can see, yeah, we have like a quick way of doing it. This is the quick way of doing it, but we need to be careful about this thing. Why is it happening? It's because we don't have black outside over here. No, maybe crop. Yeah, it's because we didn't have a crop, so it was taking the mat from here. So now we have managed that. We're just gonna have a proper alpha. Yeah. So now you can see this slight bit of like hazing this bottom of over here makes our image look more realistic. It's a small thing, but this small detail will really matters to us to make to blend our comp. Now we have to remove it from this place so that we have a sense of depth over here. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna take a multiply, and we're gonna reduce this haze to a certain extent to have a more depth in our image. Now you can see this small thing makes a shot more look more beautiful. Now you can see this edge must bleed, like if we have a reference over here, this is bleeding the color which is casting from the shadow, sorry, the sky. So same thing needs to be done here. So what we're gonna do, okay, our roto is outside, I think so. Yeah. Done. Take a grid node, invert, same thing which I told you, and increase the intensity, erode this. Now you can see we are adding a highlight on the top of the our mountain, but you're gonna see the result over here. It's bleeding a lot. We're just gonna go slightly less, and we're gonna give the blur to our alpha. So it doesn't seems like hard edge all the time. Now you can see we have like the light from it's hitting over on the mountain of the sky, and then we have separation, and then we have like this thing, colors is almost matched, but we need to work on it, and we need to have certain, like I think so, um, this looks quite like pixelated, so we might do a certain fix in the later video in the next part of this. So in the next part we're gonna add something, I think so, trees over here and over here to fill the gap, so that we mostly concentrate, like if we just ignore this part, it looks better over here, but over here we don't have sense the depth over here properly, so we might add trees over here. So I'm just gonna go on surfing and download a 2 or 3 trees png so that I can place it over here somewhere. So see you in the next video.